Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Listen, it is time for another recap of the Real Housewives of Potomac. And as usual, we are joined by our friends Lailah Lynn and Kempire. How are you guys doing?
Happy Monday.
Yes, happy Monday. I am doing great. How are you doing?
Good. And happy Monday indeed, isn't it? You know, I don't even remember that it's Monday because of this stream with you guys. Because typically I think of Mondays like, Garfield. But here we are. This is so amazing. And listen, this is the last time that we are going to be recapping RHOP this season on my channel. So I just want to tell all of you guys here, thank you so much for supporting us throughout this season. It has been absolutely incredible, learning and sharing and growing with all of you guys and laughing with all of you guys as well. So thank you so much for joining us over these past few weeks. Listen, guys, you know the drill. How would you rate the episode on a scale from 1 to 10? I'll start with you, Kempire, since you were a little giddy.
I forgot again.
Did you?
I did forget. Look, we're at the end of the season. I forgot again that we rate these episodes. I probably would rate this reunion. 7 keeps coming into mind, so I'm going to go with 7.
And even why a 7?
I thought it was a good reunion. I just feel like they lost points when we started talking about colorism, and it was so short. And we will talk more about that. But for me, that's where I took away points.
Mm-hmm. And who would you say was the MVP of the episode this time for you?
At first, and I voted incorrectly because at first I was saying Wendy, and then I rewatched the episode, and it's still Candace for me for this week. So Candace.
Yeah. All right, Lailah, same questions. What would you rate it, and who's your MVP?
My MVP is definitely Candace. I do agree with that, especially at the beginning and throughout, and then the end as well. So definitely Candace. And I would rate it like an 8 because Giselle finally revealed that the reason she didn't have empathy for Wendy is because she doesn't like her. Like, she just plain out doesn't like her, and that's why she doesn't have empathy for her. And I feel like we finally got Giselle to admit that. Robin already said it, yeah, and now Giselle has said it. So I appreciate that information coming forward.
Okay. Well, listen, you guys are rating it high and the audience is rating it high. So I'm a little scared to say this, but I would rate the episode like a 4 or a 5. Ooh. I know.
Why?
I felt sad. I felt like I was watching truly mean, bitter, miserable people, you know, like with the stuff that Giselle kept pulling. Like, she kept going out of her way to physically get into Wendy's space and assert the fact that she doesn't like her. And I consider that to be very vile and like aggressive and just nasty. And I didn't love it. And, you know, like you said, her just being so callous about the fact that she would only care about someone being assaulted if she was friends with them. I don't know. It made me feel, then the colorism, them dropping the ball, like it has been a topic that's been following them forever. They finally get the chance to have a discussion about it the way that they want to. And every single one of them says, oh, we don't want to speak with a Black moderator to really get to the bottom of this. We want Andy Cohen to oversee us having this discussion in 2 minutes. Right. And I was channeling Candace there. Thanks for noticing. That is true. I felt like, oh my God, these girls are disappointing. They really are. So that's why I rate it low.
When you explain it like that, I get it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys. Well, listen, there have been, so we're going to go through this kind of like play by play, but I kind of want to start with an overview of some of the themes of this episode. So first of all, a lot of people are saying it seems like Robin is getting fired and production wants to tar and feather her on the way out. They keep going out of their way to show off the Watch What Happens Live thing, the Juan cheating thing, and now Tampon Gate. Do you guys kind of take it that way, that they're trying to tar and feather her on the way out? Or are they just kind of like punishing her, but they're going to keep her? What do you think, Kempire?
You know what? I didn't even realize that the tampon edit until I watched it the second time around. And I was like, to me, they always show these moments, these sort of like break the fourth wall moments during the reunion. So I didn't really read too much into that particular incident, that scene.
Yeah.
However, I do believe that the producers are mad at Robin for withholding this information, because rumor on the street the previous season, they don't believe in her situation, and they've been asking her to bring it, allegedly. And you finally have something that we could talk about, and you don't want to talk about it.
Right.
So I can see that they were full on editing this episode. I loved it though, because it made sense the way that they pulled in these, moments.
Exactly. Yeah. What about you, Layla? What do you think?
I feel like tar and feather is a harsh term. I feel like that's really harsh. I do feel like, yes, are they trying to embarrass her? Yes, I do think so, because like you said, Kempire, she had so much that she could have shared with the camera. She didn't have to be embarrassed about her storyline. You know what I mean? Like the situation with Juan, it wasn't, I don't think it was necessarily embarrassing in her, being in her shoes. And so I feel like they're just showing everything, like everything that could, necessarily embarrass her. They're showing it now.
And so we kind of like had a brief discussion about it just to like kind of lay down the episode, the live stream. But I want to get into it to hear you guys' opinions in the chat. So my question is it embarrassing? Is it like a humiliation thing, the whole tampon thing? Like, do you guys see it that way? Or were they just showing breaking the fourth wall as they normally do? I will start with you, Layla, as a fellow woman.
Yes, as a fellow woman.
No way.
The way I was raised, like I wouldn't have even said what Robin said. I have to go change my tampon. I was raised like to not be that graphic. I would have just said I have to go to the restroom. For her to say I have to go change my tampon, to me, it was kind of like, I don't want to say rude, but I just felt like it was out of place. And then for them to play it, was also out of place. I do think they were trying to embarrass her. But I don't expect like ladylike behavior from Robin. If we can be honest, I don't expect her to be genteel, as they say. I don't expect that from Robin.
And what about you, Kempire? I know you said that you didn't catch it until the second time around. But
yeah, and maybe the reason why I didn't pay attention to it, because as a man, I don't, that's not something I'm thinking about, especially not on a monthly basis. So now that you guys are bringing it up and that people on social media are reacting to it, it's another situation where your experience matters, because I'm like, I didn't see anything wrong with that. That's what they normally do in regards to editing.
Yeah.
But I can see how, if you are a woman, how that can be something like, first of all, why are we talking about that? Because I did grow up with a bunch of women. So that's not something that they would share in front of cameras, myself, or you know what I mean? So I did find that a little interesting in regards to that. But like Layla said, I don't expect anything less from Robin Dixon. She's not the most, as to quote Layla, genteel woman.
I feel like I see both sides, because I'm so open about that sort of thing. I see no shame or anything in it. So I figured that she felt the same way as well. But on the other side, I can see, given the way that it does seem to be a pattern of producers now trying to make her pay for what it is that she did here, hiding her life, I can see why people would feel that way as well. So I feel like I'm, as Kempire would say, twerking on the fence on that one. So now, you guys, when we kick off this episode, I was hoping we would get Chris here, but it looks like it's not going to be until part 3. But there was a little bit of an interrogation. So Candace is still trying to get Giselle to tell us what made her feel so uncomfortable, and we still don't have the answer. Giselle kind of tries to dismiss it all by calling it semantics and whatnot, which really pissed off Candace. And it seemed to piss off Andy Cohen as well. Was that like a fair cop-out? Like, the semantics game?
I don't think it was fair at all. But I don't think anything she's doing is fair. I think Giselle is ignorant. Just like when she accused Chris of basically SA by saying that he felt on a friend of Ashley's leg. I just feel like that's ignorance, not knowing that that's SA, being surprised when somebody tells you that's SA. I just feel like Giselle is ignorant. You know what I mean? And then she says she doesn't want to argue semantics, but she's the one using the words. Like, she's the one saying that he did something to make her feel uncomfortable. She's not saying, well, she's saying 2 things. I felt uncomfortable, but she's also saying he made me feel uncomfortable. And that second one, when you say he made me feel uncomfortable, people want to know, what did he do? What
exactly.
Exactly. And the thing is when she says semantics, I was enraged with Candace in that moment because it's like, no, lady. This is not about semantics. These are about the facts. When you accuse someone of something so serious, no, we need to get down to the nitty-gritty of what you were saying and what you meant, not semantics.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You know, that's the thing that's a little bit that makes her a scary housewife to me, is that maybe she was ignorant to what it is that she's saying in the gravity, but people are telling her and she's choosing to double down instead of owning it and apologizing for putting that image out there. The only thing she's apologized so far for was the whole like Chris trying to be like, what was it, like a booty call or something like that. Yeah, but nothing serious. Is that like something she's doing on purpose, choosing to let like the more dangerous accusations kind of float in the air?
I think she honestly, and you see this in the reunion, she expected Candace to sort of like brush over this and then them make peace, just so that they had some sort of storyline. And she accused Candace in this part of the reunion of blowing this up bigger than it was. And it's like, no, you're talking about my family. You're talking about my husband on national television and accusing him of things that could potentially ruin his life and his career.
Mm-hmm. So, oh, you go ahead, Lailah.
I just felt like it was gaslighting when she was telling Candace that Candace was the one making it a big deal, that it really wasn't a big deal. I felt like she was gaslighting Candace, like we're seeing it, you know, live.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was a big deal enough for you to bring it to my attention and to bring it on television.
Right.
Exactly.
A big deal enough to wait 6 months and then bring it up.
Right. And what would Giselle have as a storyline if Candace did not want to clear this up? I can't imagine another storyline because she very much glossed over the hysterectomy thing. So
yeah,
not so
you
sure.
Gloss over it during the reunion.
Right.
And then no, just speaking of her glossing over it, just the fact that even when she talked about it, like she was in a car, it wasn't even a face-to-face conversation that she had with Robin. You know what I mean? She gave the bare minimum. And that's what she's been allowed to get away with on this show. Yeah.
And like, how about that? Her slipping in very casually out of nowhere that she has a sister. What? I thought she was an only child this whole time for some reason.
I never even thought about it until she pointed it out. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Does she have siblings? Does she have more than just a sister? Do we know?
No
I
clue.
don't know.
She's been on this show for 7 years.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that would be a great storyline for her as her kids go off. Maybe we see a friendship with her sister, right? Like, I don't know if you guys have sisters or anything like that, but like, you know, with me and my sister, it's like a friendship. We talk all the time on the phone. And, you know, when I lived in the same city as her, like we would see each other all the time. Like that would be quite interesting for Giselle. And she was saying that she wouldn't want to discuss her health issues in front of people she doesn't like. Well, why not discuss it in front of your sister, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if she's going to be there holding your hand during the surgery. And apparently she has also a brother. This is all news.
Yeah, I see that in the chat. They say she has a sister and a brother.
Oh, wow. Well, how crazy is that? Because when Wendy first came in her first season, we got her sister, we got her mom, we got the story about her being outcasted and like the husband's family. Like she really came real and raw. And look what we've got from Giselle. Nothing. So kind of jumping back into like the semantics game, how did you guys feel about Mia jumping to Giselle's defense after Giselle had pretty much accused her of embezzlement, which is a crime?
Right? Like, Mia, do you not realize what's happening here? Mia also later in this episode, she does come for Giselle in regards to the whole cancer, not cancer situation. You know, is this cancer? Okay, and I was like, hey, pick a side, figure out where you stand, because I can't. And I love, you know, I love twerking on a fence, but I don't twerk on a fence on issues like this. Come on now, like pick a side. But I was here for Candace saying, like, be quiet, stop talking.
Yeah,
This does not involve you.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Mia is less than smart. You know what I mean? Like she's a lot less than smart. And I feel like she doesn't know where to stand. Like I think she wants to be with the Green Eye Bandits. I really do. But I think she is starting to feel like that might not be the best place to be. even in some interviews she's done lately, you can tell she's kind of like backtracking.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like she's trying to find her place, but she's less than smart with her defending Giselle.
It's almost metaphoric. She's been trying to find her place in life, since she was, in foster care and things like that. So maybe that's what all of this is. Mia therapy.
Maybe. And you know what, Lailah, you touched on something very important too that I wanted to discuss, which is that it kind of does feel like some people are backing down from this storyline. For example, did you guys notice Ashley's body language throughout this reunion? She kind of feels almost remorseful for getting involved in this mess, in my opinion. But I don't know if you guys have seen it as well.
I didn't notice. I have to take a second look.
Yeah, like she spent the whole reunion hunched over with her hands crossed. And then when the whole Happy Eddie thing being a reach was discussed, she was looking at the ground. She's not the same usual like froggy, type of person who's ready to go.
Yeah.
Because literally her friend was caught out there in a lie. Even though her friend is denying and saying that, editing is making it seem another way. I don't believe that Chris was flirting with you. And it's not because of the way that you look. He was also at an event with his wife that's being filmed. Chris is not stupid. This is what his umpteenth season on this show. He's not that dumb.
Exactly. A lot of people are saying she was hunching over because she was cold in her outfit, which was very, very skimpy. So maybe that's it. They do often complain about these places being cold.
No.
Well, how do you feel, Kempire, about Ashley doubling down on her friend's lies about Happy Eddie? She's, now the new excuse is, they put dubbing over him. That's not what he was saying or whatever.
I think here's the thing. We have to remember who Ashley is and who she defended for countless seasons, who there's literal video proof. So her credibility as someone accounting for someone else, I would never use her as a witness. Monique shouldn't even use that letter of recommendation from her.
What about you, Lailah? Did you have any opinions on her doubling down on the Happy Eddie situation?
I just felt like it was a conversation she mentioned. Like she specifically said in the episode where she talked about it, she specifically said what the conversation was. In different words. She was lying about the words that were used. And what they played, it was the conversation. It was the topic that she said they were talking about. So I felt like it was all lies. It was lies again.
Yeah,
exactly. It's just disappointing to see that because at the end of the day, these lies have been affecting a person's relationship with his family, his wife, his wife's fertility journey, like a lot of things, his careers. So it is quite sad to see the girls double down. And again, that's why I had to rate the episode so low. I'm not seeing the growth and the accountability that I would have liked to have seen. Listen, you guys, we're going to take a little bit of a pause here to catch up on some of the super chats that are coming in. Thank you guys so much for supporting our channel here. We've got Miss is D Green. Look, I'm not as quick as Kempire with the, what do you call these, Kempire?
Super chat?
Yes, with the sounds, but I do have them. Give me a second. There you go.
Yes,
I'm a little slow. It's Monday morning. I'm still kind of catch up.
I'm trying to find mine. They're here somewhere. Mrs. D. Green says, time's up. Pinky and the Brain. I was bothered. Listen, I do feel like we might need to get a demotion on Robin or something. If they don't want to get rid of her, maybe a demotion to kind of test out how a shake in the dynamics might go. We've got another one from Naya. Thank you so much, Naya. Naya says, love you three together. Thank you. These reunions have been lackluster for a while. Nothing will top RHOC season 10 when the girlies came together to expose Brooks. Now, that was a good reunion. But don't forget, what season was that on RHOA when they all came together to drag Wig? What's her name?
Kim.
That was iconic.
Her seat. Yes.
That was a good one.
That was incredible. We got another one from Rochelle. Thank you, Rochelle. Rochelle says, hi, you all have such great chemistry. These reviews are great. Thank you. This is our second season working together. So it's just been so amazing. Thank you so much. Potato Head, thank you. Potato Head says, when she said she felt uncomfortable, was it because her neck were hanging low for holding all those lies? Grinch knew what she was doing. Oh my God. Listen, thank you so much for the super chat. guys are so savage sometimes. Oh my God. Okay, we've got Mims in the building, Mr. Make It Make Sense. We did do a collab with him earlier on. Make sure to check out his YouTube channel as well if you haven't already. He's really into, I think he did a recent expose on RHOP. He found something out about Robin. Mim says Mia stuck her size 13 foot in her mouth. That's the thing. Mia is constantly sticking her foot in her mouth when it comes to these things. But she's the kind of person who doesn't care and doesn't mind, right? Like I think she gets off on confusion. She's an agent of chaos. That's what I would describe her as.
You're being kind. You're being kind. Like it's a mastermind that she has there, and she's figured this out. I don't think so. That's what it is.
Too kind. Thank you so much for the super chat, Libred C. What do you think that Candace doesn't believe that her castmates are not colorists? Yeah, but the viewers' opinions differ, blaming the cast and not taking responsibility for their own views on colorism. All right, well, let's jump into it. The colorism section, okay? So you guys, that's a great question. Why does Candace like to say that the girls are not colorist?
I would like to hear her answer that, honestly.
Yeah.
And I feel like that colorism segment, which I literally timed it, was like 5 to 6 minutes max. I feel like the last 20 minutes of the show could have been about colorism. I understand you're trying to fit everything in so you can segue for people to watch next week. But when this is such a huge topic of debate this season and past seasons, you should give a little bit more care to it. And I still believe there should have been a moderator, a part of that conversation, and not... I word on the street, I believe Candace wanted a moderator, but I'm guessing they voted and they decided not to have one. I feel like as a company, HR, that should have been a moderator, not one of your favorite celebrities hosting it just because they're Black. No. We need someone that's educated on the topic. We need someone that's going to watch what played out during the season and give their analysis and have that conversation. Look, Candace knows these women. We are watching an edited show, so I need to hear her opinion on why she doesn't think that they have colorist behavior or colorists. But they deserved more time to discuss it and discuss the examples which made them uncomfortable, Candace and Dr. Wendy Osefo.
I agree. We didn't even get to hear Wendy say a single word on it, if I'm remembering correctly, right?
Very little she was able to say.
Yeah.
And a political professor. But I feel like Candace, I kind of felt like she backed down. I get the feeling she does think they're colorists just from her tweets and things she said in the past. I think she does think certain cast members are colorists. And I felt like she backed down, and maybe it's because she wants to keep relationships with certain people. I don't know what it is, but I felt like she backed down.
Absolutely.
Remember too, she wants to keep her position on the show. We literally heard Wendy say in this episode, the reason why she even moved forward with Mia was so that the group could move forward. Hence, meaning move the show forward.
Right.
I agree. I'm with you guys. I felt very disappointed, first of all, with the moderator situation. Like you said, I think you said this at the very top, Kempire, but I felt like this could have been a part 4. Like it could have been its own thing so that we can finally have a full-blown discussion about it. I think it deserved more than just a little soundbite on the show. And I don't know if you guys also noticed this or anything like that, but Giselle, she kept making like really rude faces throughout like the discussion, like, oh, that's ridiculous almost, like, and I was really disappointed in that. I felt like, wow, like with your family history, your HBCU that you're always bragging about, and this is how you react to a discussion about something that's really painful for your people.
If you look at the comments section when these topics do come up about RHOP, it's people that look like us that are saying there's no colorism on the show. This does not exist. So I'm not completely shocked by Giselle's continued response in regards to this topic.
I wasn't shocked, but I felt like it was telling that both Giselle and Robin were so defensive. Like you could see Ashley was open to the conversation. She admitted that she does have a privilege having a lighter skin. And the same thing with Mia. It looked like Mia was agreeing with Ashley, and she was talking about raising a daughter with brown skin. But you didn't see that with Robin and Giselle. You saw them being very defensive. And I felt like they didn't want to have the conversation, and they don't believe that they're colorists. But the fact that they weren't open to it, to me, says a lot.
Same here. I have to be honest, I was disappointed in the one example that Candace brought up about the crying. I felt like that was not really, it's not really a stereotype, like a colorist stereotype or anything like that. And it is true that she cries a lot. I felt like this has been going on for years. You've been talking about it. You're given a moment, you're given a heads up, and this is the best that you can come up with for the discussion.
Keep in mind, though, maybe possibly she did bring up other examples and it was edited out. And they chose that particular example.
I feel like the generational wealth, like, I feel like with Candace, and maybe, I don't know if this is racial or colorist, but when we talk about examples that have to do with Candace, I feel like the generational wealth, like they kind of like don't expect that for her. You know what I mean? And I kind of get the feeling if she looked differently, then maybe they wouldn't be so surprised by it.
Absolutely. Right. And it's like Patrice is saying, if a moderator was there, they would have pulled out the more serious topics like that. Like, why does Candace's like family situation trigger you guys? Right. Like that type of stuff. So it was a missed opportunity.
Anyone else was shocked at Karen in that moment? I was like,
that she spoke so well.
Right?
Yes, I was like, oh, okay, Karen.
Yes, Karen made the most sense. But you know what? I think that comes with her experience, her family, and also her just being a little bit more self-aware than the other ladies.
Absolutely. And I really loved that moment. It kind of reminds me of like the Giselle stuff. When Giselle was going around talking about uncomfortable this and that, she had a really good conversation with Giselle about it, right? When she was like, you just have to make sure something happened to me. This is a very serious, like that type of stuff. I've been liking her. Like when she has one-on-ones with people, she really is like the mother goose, the mother hen.
Yes, she is.
And the other important part of that, and this is the problem with a lot of people, including, the viewers, is that they're not able to see how Giselle saying I felt uncomfortable with Chris also correlates with Candace and Wendy saying I feel uncomfortable with some of the things that are playing out on this show. All of that can be aligned if you respect each other. Okay, I respect that you felt uncomfortable with Chris, but can you respect the fact that I feel uncomfortable with some of the things that are playing out on the show that I do deem as colorist?
Well, Andy, he showed up, y'all. He showed up and he tried to say the same thing. He tried to link it that way. But what happened? Giselle, she stretches her arm into Wendy's zone and says, okay, but I don't care about her or her feelings, basically, which is like, wow.
Yeah, it was so low. But she finally revealed herself. Like a snake will always reveal themselves. They always will. And I feel like she finally revealed herself and she finally said, I didn't have empathy for Wendy. I didn't see things from Wendy's point of view because I don't like Wendy. So you see Giselle for what she really is.
I felt like it would have, if we had a full segment for this, we would have broken down why Giselle even dislikes Wendy, because Wendy never came for her until she came for her first, right? Like her body and her marriage. Then Wendy returned serve. And now all of a sudden she's the big bad wolf. Like, stop.
And Kenny brought up a really good point in that moment. You can't, just because you don't like her, say, oh, what she's feeling or what she's experiencing is wrong. And Annie made a good point. In the court of law, just because you don't like someone doesn't mean that you can just sentence them. Oh, I don't like them. Then you definitely can't be on my jury.
Right.
Exactly.
And Robin said the same thing during the season. In one of her confessionals, she said the same thing, that she doesn't see things from Wendy's point of view because she just doesn't like Wendy. And I would like to know why they don't like Wendy. But I feel like, speaking of, I know, Grace, you mentioned about, Wendy returning serve and coming for their relationships or lack of relationships. I feel like, we've seen Ashley do that, but they've forgiven Ashley. And for me, I can't understand why they don't forgive Wendy or even Candace. You know what I mean? So when we talk about the colorism, I've always felt like you could see the colorism on who those two people forgive when they do them wrong. Like they'll make friends with Mia. Like one of the first few episodes, Giselle kind of made up with Mia and she's made up with Ashley over the years, but you don't see her doing that with any of the browner skinned girls.
Exactly. It could have been so good. I am really disappointed that we did not get the moderator. We did not get the extra episode because that episode would have been really popular. I think it would have done numbers. I don't know if you guys ever watched Southern Charm New Orleans. Like Southern Charm used to address a lot of issues of being Black in New Orleans and the history of that and like some of the racism, the microaggressions that they and like I was like, I would have loved for that. A cast like that
didn't come back. Bravo's not ready for those conversations.
That might be it, right? That's why we're stuck with these like surface level people, I guess. Listen, you guys, we've got almost 1,400 watching this stream. I don't know how many likes we have, but I'm sure it's not enough. So if you're enjoying this stream,
I'm sure it's not matching.
Exactly. Let's get some 1,400 likes in here, please. Please, please, please. And make sure that you are subscribed to Lailah Lynn and Kempire on YouTube. I've got links to their YouTube channels in the description box. And they're also tagged in the title of this video so that you guys can check out their channels. We're going to be on Lailah's channel next week for the final episode of the season as well. So don't miss out on that. Now, you guys, let's get into Speakergate. Remember how Robin brought that big speaker to show the girls Candace's live stream? Correct me if I'm wrong, but during the episode, I specifically remember her saying that she was on the toilet taking her morning dump when the live started. I'm sorry, but
this is what I'm talking about when it comes to Robin. Like, she tells us too much. It's TMI.
Regular Robin.
Dumping tampons. So she told us that it was happening while she was like on the toilet. But now with the reunion, she's saying a blog sent it to her. Did you guys notice that discrepancy there?
Yeah, she's lying. Lying. Yeah.
Which she think is the truth.
I mean, it was hypocritical throughout this reunion. Part 1 and part 2, there are at least 3 moments that stand out to me in regards to how hypocritical Robin has been. From last week, can we all agree that a married man should not be in a hotel room with a single woman? This week, everything you guys want everything off camera. Everything should be on camera.
She's gonna make Kempire cuss.
Really, you hypocrite.
It's true.
Sorry.
It's true. And it is hard to watch now that we know what we do know. So I do have to say thank you to the producers for doing things like this, because if they let it all kind of just play out like that and us just talk online, we would be really frustrated. But I'm happy that they're like, listen, we get it. We're frustrated too with this chick.
Yeah.
So how did you guys feel about her excuses for like playing it in front of the group instead of having it could have been done on camera, but one-on-one with Candace, couldn't it have? What did you think, Lailah?
I feel like Robin can't help but drift to Giselle's side because she's such a follower of Giselle. Like, she started off trying to stand on her own and say, she doesn't think Chris did anything wrong. But the minute, maybe she was tagged in the post, but the minute something happens to where Candace is looking kind of shady or whatever, like, she drifts back to Giselle. I feel like she can't help but to follow under Giselle. And I don't think, I've said this before, I don't think that type of personality should be like holding a champagne glass or whatever it is. I feel like the women who hold the glasses should be like able to stand on their own. Like at least Giselle. Right. Be able to stand on your own. And I feel like Robin doesn't do that at all. Even with Juan, she doesn't do that. Like, he has her out here looking like a fool. You know what I mean? For what he did. Like, he's the root of everything, but he has her out here looking like a fool.
You know why, though? She has loyalty to these folks because they're keeping her on the show. I believe that Robin and Juan have this plan, and this has secured her spot on the show. I believe that Giselle has saved Robin's job. She's the reason why Robin's on the show, and I believe she saved her job when producers wanted to get rid of her. These are just in my opinion. I don't know if this is for fact. However, that is what I'm getting, and that's why she's so loyal to Giselle. It's not just friendship. I believe, honestly, Giselle has saved her job these last few seasons, and that's the only reason why she's been able to do what she's been able to do, the podcast, these hats, and to have the beautiful home that she has now. So she's loyal. At the end of the day, who are you going to be loyal to? Someone that's literally giving you your lifestyle? Just saying.
True.
But I have my limits. I have to be honest. I have my limits. I'm a whole woman. Like, I have my limits.
I feel, here's the thing. How much more influence does Giselle have? Because Giselle right now, she's in Lisa Rinna territory where people see her as being very toxic. And so I don't think the fans are really on her side for her to wield power to protect Robin anymore. Or am I wrong?
No. Look.
I keep my timeline pretty clean, so most of the people who I follow are not necessarily on Giselle's side, so I don't see too many tweets like that. But overall, I'm sure there are.
I mean, I see a mix of both, and sometimes I'm just like, let me just keep swiping. Because usually there really is no great valid point to what they're trying to justify here. But I've been saying this in regards to Giselle and the comparisons to Lisa Rinna. And I don't know if you both saw the Ultimate Girls Trip trailer. Yeah. And there was a big debate on one of the things that she said in that trailer in regards to what she said to Candace. It's like, oh, I lied for you. And a lot of people said, no, she says, I forget what the other word they thought. But then I saw that Bravo and Peacock posted the trailer up with captions, their own captions. And she literally says, I lied for you. I'm interested to see how she lied for Candace during this Ultimate Girls Trip situation. But Giselle, for me, in comparison to Lisa Rinna, I get it. People do not like Lisa Rinna. However, I feel like she's on the same path as Lisa Rinna. If not, she might be worse because of the things that she's attacking of her castmates on the show. They have literal, real life effects. So for me, in that sense, she's worse than Rinna.
Exactly. I think what was the worst that Rinna has done? Munchausen and Close to Death, I think, are probably her two, really girl. What are you saying? Listen, you guys, thank you all so much for being here. I am with Lailah Lynn and Kempire. They've got amazing YouTube channels where they cover all the latest in pop culture news as well. So if you haven't already, do make sure that you subscribe to their channel as we rotate the panel out to Lailah's channel for part 3 next week. I'm going to get into some of these super chats before we move a little bit further along in our recap. There's just so much to discuss. I'm scared of going over, you guys, but there's so much. It was juicy, okay?
We're here for you. We're here for you. Let's go.
Yes. Thank you. Sean, thank you so much. Sean says, so now production is dubbing voices. Ashley, please stop. Exactly. I can't buy it. You got to stop.
They have done that before. We saw that on the last season of Beverly Hills. So they're different production companies, but they have done that in Housewives. So, look.
Sally, thank you so much for the super chat. She says, y'all skin is glowing. The melanin, y'all.
I realize I'm the only one wearing blue. You know what?
That's true. I'm wearing blue next week for the finale.
I will too.
I just realized.
I forgot all about it.
Me too. AJ, thank you so much for the super chat. AJ says they started to pull back from Jizzy and the allegations because Candace made it bigger as she should have. Their plan backfired and now they look stupid. I agree. I feel like these girls are smart enough to know that they made a misstep and it's not right. Unfortunately, they're not ready to apologize for it, but I think they know and I think they're ashamed. Mims is back. Thank you so much, Mims. Mims says, I couldn't pay attention to Ashley's body language because her stiff, lifeless bob was distracting. Ashley is nobody's friend, just a snake in the grass. Listen, Ashley is ice cold, y'all. I'm going to put up this picture of her again. Let me try and find a closer one. I'm trying to see if the bob really is stiff. But it is true. Ashley is for Ashley at the end of the day. She's a survivor. Stephanie, thank you so much, Steph. Steph says, I wasn't happy with Giselle saying that she doesn't like Wendy. They're sorority sisters. It's not a good look for the organization that Giselle is so hard up on hating Wendy. Listen, Lailah, you're a soror. You're not?
No, I talked about that because I used to have that same opinion, and I did talk about them both being AKAs before, and how I felt like that was surprising. Like the people I know in sororities and fraternities normally, wouldn't do that so publicly. Like they wouldn't hate on each other so publicly. It would be more private. So, it is what it is at this point. I guess the hate is just that strong. Like she doesn't care.
Yeah. Disappointing. Thank you so much, the mental fit chick. It's disappointing with the lack of accountability from Giselle. To see her act confused made me so upset. To say you don't like someone doesn't mean you can't say they are wrong. You guys are always on the ball, and I love it. Sean, again, thank you. Giselle revealed who she is during this reunion. She has no morals and revealed that she never had a problem with violence. She had a problem with Monique. Yes, that's it. Mia showed how dangerous she really is.
Yes.
It's so sad.
Yes.
Kiana, thank you. Kiana says, when did it become okay to accuse people of SA? They need to pull a Phaedra on Giselle. Ooh. Robin also needs to go. Can I ask you guys what the difference is in the way that Giselle has spread these rumors versus Phaedra? Is it because one included drugs in a dungeon and the other is just a slap on the butt? What do you guys think?
That is a good question because both technically would be SA. So maybe that is it, the severity, possibly, is possibly favoritism that Bravo has toward Giselle. I think that's a strong possibility as well. I think I'm gonna go with that actually. I think it's because Giselle is one of the favorites on Bravo. I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
But not in the eyes of the law or HR policies, NBC Universal.
All right.
But here's the thing. She also had an accusation against Chris. And she said that she was uncomfortable. So it's a sticky area for NBC Universal. I wouldn't be surprised if she might have to go in, or the group might have to go in for training. You know what they like to say. They're not going to do the same Phaedra thing because she had a similar accusation. NBC does not want this to be, come across as retaliation against Giselle. It's a sticky area.
Yeah, I think training would be great. If they had some training, because it really seemed like Giselle was ignorant regarding the SA comments. So training about that, some training about unconscious bias, I think it would do them well.
Yeah,
I agree. Those are great points. See, look at this. Kempire's background in HR is coming through here.
Yes,
He's business.
NBC Universal. I don't know why.
Honestly, in part one, though, I felt like, how do you, as a woman complaining about a man making you feel uncomfortable for literally standing there and talking to you, how do you turn around and proposition someone who's gay for sex? You know what I mean? Like, really? All right.
That's why I say she's ignorant. She's just an ignorant woman. She's beautiful, and I think that might distract people, but she is ignorant. She is extremely ignorant.
Right? I felt like that was sexual harassment at least, but I digress, y'all. Trent, thank you so much. Trent says Candace is villainized by light-skinned women, but paid to create 8 light-skinned embryos. Make it make sense. Oh my God. Here's the thing. I will say, I feel like in relationships, you can't really help who you fall in love with. So I don't really, you know what I mean? I don't know. Oh my God. What do you guys think? I don't know what to say.
I'm gonna be honest. I know a lot of biracial people are lighter skinned for the most part.
I know someone that isn't though.
Right. It's not 100%. Like even like people like Melissa Ford, the model, she is biracial. You can't really tell.
Katie from season 1.
Right. Right. But for me as a mom, like I remember when I had my kids and people talking about my kids' skin color, it really upsets me because people will literally like look at the kids' fingernails and look at their ears and try to see what color they're gonna be. And that whole thing of what color is the baby gonna be, it really like disgusts me.
Yeah. But that's all rooted in racism.
Yeah, that's
colorism.
Yes, it's always a toss-up. You guys. Now, okay, so here's something that came up that was a little bit, I felt like Wendy was a little bit pissed here, and I want to know you guys' opinions. So Andy brings up the fact that Candace had once said that Robin was the most loyal to her in the group. And then Wendy kind of ran down the receipts of all the times that Robin has backstabbed her. What did you guys think of that moment? Was that a little bit of a shift?
I don't know if it was a shift, especially with everything that's played out with Robin and this whole situation. I do believe that Candace and Robin's relationship is severed right now because of the lies. But I'm glad they brought it up because we've talked about it countless weeks about how we don't believe in the friendship between Candace and Wendy, and the loyalty there doesn't seem the same that she has for other people in the group. So I don't necessarily believe there's an actual shift, but it will be interesting to see dynamics if Robin does come back next season.
Now you guys, what else? I'm trying to see. Is there anything else that we haven't kind of like discussed so far? Am I jumping forward a little bit too much here?
Let me see.
I did have a question for you guys. It might be a little bit of a risque question, but I do have to ask because we get into Giselle's latest boyfriend of the moment. And so Andy asked her if the kids have met him. And she says yes. Do you guys think that this is a serious relationship because the kids have met? Or is she at Layla? I saw your face. Go ahead.
I don't even know he's met the kids. I still don't think it's serious. I feel like the one that was serious was that guy she brought on the show. And then I think they brought his ex-wife on the show or something like that.
Yeah.
Sherman. Yeah, Sherman. I feel like that was a serious one. And none of these other ones, I don't think she takes them serious. The fact that she's open about them when she's a private person lets you know that she really doesn't take it serious.
But you remember what happened last time when she brought Sherman on the show? That probably triggered her, and she's like, "Never again will I bring a serious relationship on this show, so that they can attack it like I attack other people's families."
My kid's school calling. I'll be right back.
No problem.
Good. I felt like that was her villain origin story. I believe that was season 3 about.
Villain origin story. Great.
It really felt like it, the poor girl, because she used to be like effortlessly like funny and stuff, but then she became kind of evil after that.
Yeah.
I do have a question. It's too bad that Lailah had to go because she's the one with kids, but I kind of felt like she introduces all these people to her kids. I'm like, wait a minute, all these like minute-long relationships have been introduced to these kids
that we know of. Have we actually seen the kids meet these men?
Yeah, so they showed another guy. So do you remember the guy that they showed? He was at a table with Ashley, Monique, and whatnot in the flashback that they showed tonight.
Oh, yes. Steve, right?
Yeah. And then in season 2, there was a guy that came. They had like lunch in the backyard. He met the kids. Now this guy's met the kids. Sherman met the kids. I'm like,
remember, Steve, she's known for years, and the kids have known him for years. So that's a little different.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't remember the other one, but I don't know. I mean, everyone's different in regards to who meets their children. I don't really have a stance on that because I don't have children. But I probably I'm weird anyway when it comes to stuff like that. So they probably wouldn't meet if I had children. I mean, never mind my pet before. So I don't know. I think everyone is really different with that. I know there are some women that are just very, very like, no, you're not meeting my kids based on the timeline. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I even believe that this is a real relationship.
That's the thing. I wonder if she's prepping them, and like Omar says, maybe because they're older, that or the fact that it's like, okay, well, this is not real anyway. Just play along for the scene. I feel like, might be the vibe we're getting.
Yeah, because I don't think that has anything to do with how Giselle feels, because she knows it's not serious. So
yeah,
she already told us that she's not trying to get into anything serious while she's still getting her daughters ready for school and things like that. So I don't believe anything. She's setting us up. This is perfect for Jason to come on this show when Winter House is not filming. He has another show to film, and I could be that guy for her.
I think so too. I wonder if he'll make it to the reunion, because I think she's only had one man make it to the reunion, right?
Don't give them ideas. Sherman was at the reunion.
He was the
only one, right?
Yeah, he's the only one who's been to the reunion. And I don't know, did he ever sit behind her, or did we only see him behind the?
He was in the dark with the cameras.
Yeah, not the dark. Honestly, I want her to have that one day. I feel like her daughters, one day, her daughters have told her that she's nicer when she's in a relationship. Do you remember that?
Oh, I forgot about that. I mean, are we all nicer though when we're in a relationship?
When we're in a good relationship, because sometimes these people will stress you out, and then you're like, not that nice.
Miserable.
Yeah.
Was it Jamal was there once? I don't remember that. He definitely didn't sit behind her.
I don't think so, because that was like that epic is Jamal coming. No.
So I don't think Jamal has ever been there.
No. Jamal was with one of his other ladies. Now we get it.
Just saying.
Okay, speaking of the drinks that we're drinking here, what about the drink toss and the way that Mia defended pretty much throwing that drink in Wendy's face?
I felt for Wendy. I felt for her in that moment because she got really upset, and I don't think anyone really realized how upset she was by everything that transpired in Miami. And I felt hurt for her because I didn't realize, because she does put on this strong exterior, but the fact that she said that was really messed up to her, and that she really wanted to retaliate in that moment, and I don't blame her. I don't blame her. Which also still made me think about Monique. It made me think about Monique and Monique's reaction, and I get it that you felt in that particular moment that's not what you should. Oh no, not the picture ready to go. She felt that moment. You have to keep in mind too, Monique had been dealing with these women for countless seasons before Wendy started the show. So who knows what she was feeling in that moment. You know what I mean? However, some people say, well, Candace didn't hit Monique. Okay, we're not going to get into that whole back and forth, but it made me look at the whole situation a little bit different. Like, can you guys now open your mind to see her side of the situation now?
Yeah.
Now that you're in this particular, predicament. I don't know. What did you think?
Well, I felt the same thing. I felt like they were still very heartless. The only person who showed empathy towards her, in my opinion, was Ashley and Candace.
Yeah.
And I was touched by Ashley because she kept reaching out to her, like physically and everything, just to see, that she was doing okay. But it's tough. What Wendy went through was really bad. And I felt like it still wasn't super condemned by the show.
Right.
You didn't get those like visual PSAs like we did in the Monique situation or anything like that. Mia kind of danced around it and made excuses for what it is that she did. I don't know. I was disappointed.
Yeah, me too.
Now, okay. Well, this whole thing kind of like all started out because of the Peter thing. I got to ask you, Kempire, why is Mia so pressed about Peter? Like, has she been banging him?
I mean, when Andy asked the question about her relationship with Peter, Mia can never really have a clear answer in regards to what that relationship is. And then her bringing up the possibility that Dr. Wendy Osefo slept with him. I was just sort of like, why are we deflecting to that instead of just answering what's being addressed here? Although we can get back to that because you need to clear that up. I don't know. Do you believe anything really happened between Dr. Wendy Osefo and Peter Thomas?
Look at Happy Eddie. No.
Not
Look at that
Eddie.
man she's got at home. She is not leaving that for Peter Thomas. Okay, stop. I don't believe it. And, that's another thing that kind of like disgusted me about the reunion. It's how easily these women throw out very serious allegations against other people. Like, this is not casual stuff you're saying. I don't get it.
And that you have videotape. I saw the camera. So that says to me, if this even existed, in order for you to see the video cameras, Peter Thomas must be in on it, which says a lot about his character.
But you know what she said was on the cameras? Them eating dinner.
And she said cookie. Come on.
Of the cookie or whatever. And then, I don't know. I just felt like really like, I just can't. I can't. Candace said it really well. She's like, you guys, we have to stop just saying any and everything, right? At the end of the day, throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. It's a bit ridiculous at that point. Some people do say that Wendy did not deny it enough. She only said that Mia is talking just to talk. Yeah. What would you do if you were in her position and someone like Mia was making those allegations?
Again, we're watching something that's edited, so who knows what Dr. Wendy Osefo's real reaction was in that moment. She could have said that, and they edited those parts out. We don't know.
Yeah,
I did have that initial feeling though when she was making those accusations, but they were going back and forth, so you could barely hear what each other was saying. And I did think to myself, like, well, Wendy, you could deny this a little bit harder. But then again, I remind myself, this is an edited show. She could have, and it was just edited out. I know she's going on social media to deny any of this, but I mean, regardless, the fact that we're almost a year later and Mia cannot show any true remorse. So that apology she did on social media to me was not 100% genuine. You were wrong, Mia, in Miami. And again, like you said, I feel as if the show production, Andy, in that moment should have denounced her behavior, and they did not.
Exactly. Well, here's the thing. I felt like it would have been nice to replay that scene and show us the sequence that they want to dance around, because she tries to make it seem like Wendy made the marriage allegations and stuff, and that's why she threw the drink. But it wasn't because of that. Wendy was just saying, I don't have to meet with Peter because I'm not here on business. Yeah. And then Mia snapped and threw the drink, which, was ridiculous.
Yeah. Even Andy was confused. He was like, your reaction just seemed weird for what she was saying.
And speaking of weird reactions, we had RMZ. What is that? Robin TMZ. How did you feel about her explaining away the reason why she was holding that camera up in Wendy's face and chastising Wendy about being attacked?
I agree with Wendy. They showed the scene, the unseen footage of what Robin said to Wendy in that moment. You can say all of that and say that you're trying to protect her, and you're like, if you're going to fight her, wait till the cameras leave. But in that moment, you were also antagonizing the situation by filming it. What was the point of you filming it? You weren't trying to protect her. She wasn't the one that, physically attacked someone.
What was the smile for? She had a big smile as she was filming that I didn't understand either. It reminded me of the smile that Giselle had when Mia was making allegations about what is it, Wendy hooking up with Peter. Like, what is it with these smiles when horrible things are happening to people?
Because it's not happening to them.
Right.
It says a lot about their character. It's actually disgusting. And honestly, I personally, Candace and Wendy can do whatever they want because I know they have bigger things that they want to do with this show. But me personally, I could never be on a show with these types of women because I feel like they're dangerous. No, my livelihood, my future, my mental health is worth way more than television.
I completely agree. It's sad the lows that they are willing to go for this show. It really, really is. You guys, we are almost 1,700 in here. If you are enjoying the stream, please do make sure to give it a thumbs up. I'd love to see it at 1,700 to match the viewers. I'm here with Kempire. We did have Lailah on earlier, but her children's school called her, so she had to step away to handle that. But guys, thank you so much for joining us on this chat. I'm going to get to some of these tuber chats before we continue along here. AJ, thank you so much. AJ says, I wish they brought up the comments Jizzy and Robin said about watermelon and chicken and James Harden's beer. Right. Colorism was definitely showing there.
You exposed on their podcast because nobody, I don't know, believe that 4 million people are listening. Because you listened to that, so we didn't have to, and you exposed that, and you brought this up during our recaps that they needed to discuss this, and they did not. That should have been a part of the colorism conversation.
Exactly. Thank you, AJ. I can't believe I'm forgetting about that at this point. It is true. Again,
they forgot about it.
Right. Why did we not have the moderator? Why did we not have the special episode for it? It was just such a ball drop. Kempire, I got to ask you, and you guys in the chat as well, do you think they can go back to this topic later on, if it persists, or was it a one-time, this is your opportunity here?
I think that's their intention. I think that's what they really intended. They wanted to just sort of we're going to have it, and then we're going to move on next season and completely steer clear of it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I'm sad. Sean with another super chat. Thank you, Sean. Sean says, ironic, the two who brought up the similar issue in season 1 with Katie and Ashley are now quiet. It's true. They used to be obsessed with race and color. White people could dance and they'll ask, is that a white people thing? Michael jumps off a boat. Is that a white? Now all of a sudden we're scared to talk about race and color, right? Crazy. Mental Fit Chick, thank you so much. Mental Fit Chick says, Giselle has to be careful because she has 3 brown girls who look and have features like me and the women on this panel and not their mom. I experienced it even at 37. This was a time definite or sensitive conversation. It is quite sad that she doesn't care about it for the sake of her daughters at the very least. Carl, thank you so much. Carl says, colorism is almost at the root of the show. It's how Bravo intended to differentiate RHOP from RHOA, who's always had dark-skinned women. I think that's a very interesting thought.
Wow. I agree, because remember they said this show wasn't originally a housewife show, that it was more about the Jack and Jill. And with that Jack and Jill world, colorism is a big issue there, like the paper bag test and things like that. So I do agree that, yes, this show was supposed to be different. Like RHOA, it's a lot of new money type of people. And this show was supposed to show a different side of Black America. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was so thoughtful. Thank you, Carl. We've got Tony Henderson here. Hey, thanks, Tony. She says, hey, y'all. So love all of you. Jizzy nor Robin have 1 ounce of morality. These women are deplorable. Honestly, I hope that they're seeing and reading and hearing the feedback and willing to change and adjust moving forward, because it's not fun. It's not lighthearted. And we want to see more of that, more fun, more lighthearted stuff moving forward. Now, okay. So the antagonistic thing, Lailah, we kind of talked about this a little bit while you were out there, but we were talking about how Robin seemed to have a difficult time explaining why she accused Wendy of being antagonistic when she was attacked. Did you have anything to say about the way she kind of skirted around that?
Yeah, because I actually went and looked up the definition of an antagonist, because I was like, is it just me? Or because I always felt like an antagonist is at the beginning of a situation, like they're provoking at the beginning of a situation. And when I looked up the definition, that's what it says, to cause someone to be hostile. And so Wendy, as I said before, was responding to Mia already being hostile and violent towards her. She wasn't an antagonist. She was being reactive to the situation. But, Robin, she makes excuses. Now that Robin and Giselle have both admitted that they're hypocrites and they just go with who they like, it's like, I have very low expectations for Robin.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Here's the thing, though. I don't understand. If you guys were reality stars, and you guys in the chat as well, and you saw the feedback from people saying this is absolutely wrong, you handled this horribly, would you not want to kind of like reflect and kind of repent for your audience? Because at the end of the day, we're the people who will buy the defunct makeup line or the gas station hats. Like, you need us to like you.
You remember what they said on the Sherry Shepherd show? They really do not see value in the people that are watching and engaging with their show on social media. They believe that their show will do well and will stay on the air without you. That's what it stood out to me. So I don't think that they are willing to be self-reflective at all.
Another example of ignorance, like when they say we don't care about social media, and the people on social media are the same people who are watching your show. You know what I mean? They're just more vocal about it, but it's the same people. So that's just another example of them being ignorant and not realizing that, yes, you do need those people. You do need those people to watch your show.
And Bravo was looking at that social media engagement as a part of your ratings, people.
Exactly. They listen. That's why we're getting these upsets in terms of casting. Look what happened to Roni. Like, they just flipped that thing completely on its head. Rinna, like, a lot of stuff has been happening. A lot of things that you would have never guessed, right? So they need to be careful. Potato Head said, Robin sat her masculine self and said a blog sent it. I leave the blogs alone. Focus on your rented man and rented lifestyle. Well, that's the thing. They always claim that blogs are liars and this and that, but when it's convenient, they'll use the blogs, which is it.
Right. They're hypocrites.
Exactly.
To your friend and saying, did you say this about me?
Right.
And about the group?
Which is it? Trent says, thank you so much, Trent, for the super chat. Trent says, I think Robin was defensive because she's called a bandit, aggressive, and masculine. The irony, but Candace can't be called bratty. Giselle wasn't here for it either. This is a great point. So I do want to ask you guys, did Robin bring up a fair point when she said that I'm called aggressive and stuff as well?
Well, I think what Candace said to her was right when Candace was like, you're called aggressive now. But those seasons when it was happening, and it took several instances for people to now start calling Robin aggressive. When it first happened, people weren't necessarily calling her aggressive.
It's recent. And like you said, Grace, I feel as if Candace's example didn't land the way that we needed during a conversation on colorism. There were plenty of other perfect examples that would have been very clear for Giselle and Robin to understand. So I think that's part of the reason why people are like, well, her example didn't, explain colorism to me.
Exactly. I really hope they revisit this in the future. Brian, thank you so much for this super chat. Brian says, sending you a little love, Grace. I love this panel. Thanks, Brian. That's awesome. I have a brother named Brian as well.
You have a brother?
Yes, y'all. We're a big family. Our house says, thank you so much for the super chat. Our says, Jizzy never liked Mo. Now she's targeting Candy and Wendy. She can't handle beautiful Black women being loved and more successful than her. She tries Karen, but Kay is too quick for her. Rob is her equal. I have heard this being said a lot, and I have to say it's starting to look true, y'all.
Did you guys notice when Andy asked, because she was talking about the Ladam, she said, what would, the fans of Robin be called? And she said, boring. You noticed that Robin had no response. She just sort of looked like, and then everyone else was laughing. I was like, damn, Robin, woo, woo,
woo. No energy whatsoever. I think she knows it's true at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Argue with the truth.
Shantia, thank you so much for this super chat. Thank you. Potato Head, again, thank you, Potato Head. Potato says, we knew Ashley was nobody's friend when she brought on Deborah. Who is Nosferatu? Just sitting there with negative energy. Well, that's the thing. Candace was trying to be her friend, you guys. you know, so it was quite disappointing to see things kind of take that turn. Asha K, thank you so much for the super chat. Asha says, no difference, frickin' frack can go. Listen, y'all, I think the producers are listening to the feedback. The feedback is strong this year. Hi, Osen, thank you so much for the super chat. Osen says, imagine having Giselle as your first lady. Well, here's the thing. Giselle is your first lady and Jamal is the pastor.
I don't know what's worse. I think Jamal, well, at least Jamal, I've heard him preach, and yes, he can preach, but you're not living what you're preaching.
Exactly.
This is the man that wanted to have some type of cannabis business. He was looking for men that smelled like weed to come to his church. I can't imagine him as a pastor. I just can't.
No.
He's a very good orator, Lailah.
It takes more than that.
Apparently not. He's still the pastor of this church. Like, what the hell? I mean, okay, whatever.
I'm talking about to be my pastor.
I agree. Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
God. Dina the Explorer, thank you so much for the super chat. Dina says, did you discuss that Giselle has a sister? Who knew? She hasn't shared anything. Yeah, and apparently she's got a brother as well. Mrs. Degree, thank you so much for the super chat. Giselle lacks self-awareness equals lacks relationship. Yeah, you have to be a certain level of vulnerable and open to sustain a relationship. So I think that might be a factor as to why hers don't really last too long. TV says there's a nasty beef brewing, Mia versus Ashley. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. What do you guys think about that? Because Ashley's the only one who's really been like strongly against what Mia did to Wendy. Candace could be, but she wasn't there, right? So do you think that could potentially lead to a beef between them?
I mean, I don't know, maybe, because I mean, they've had a couple of little things this season, so I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to see it though, because that would cause Mia to keep defending her violent behavior, and I don't want to see her to continue defending it.
No. I agree. Now, speaking of beef, and you guys, I know you're tired of hearing this, but I got to say it again. Listen, if there's a beef that I want to see kind of go down next season, it's going to be between my girl, Jacqueline, and Mia. Guys, are you with me? Do you want Jacqueline back?
I do. I want Jacqueline back, and I also want the business stuff. I want to know the details of how that went awry. So yeah, I do want.
And you know, Jacqueline apparently knows and has receipts, so she can share that information with Candace because they've forged a new friendship.
Right.
I am 1,000% here for it. Listen, she comes out at the end of part 2 of this reunion, and we didn't really get too much. All we learned from her is that her family is really upset at Mia for the way she treated her, but her mom, she has not let her mom watch the show yet. Was there anything about her appearance that kind of stuck out to you guys in their dynamic or anything like that? They could have
kept it for next week and allow the colorism conversation to continue.
That's a good point, actually. It's a really good point.
I mean, they could have saved that last 5 minutes.
I agree with you, because all we really learned was that, you know, the obvious. Anyone could have assumed that. But how did you guys feel about Mia's excuse for treating her friend poorly on the show? Basically, it was, I was overwhelmed and I couldn't be a supportive friend to Jacqueline at the time. So I treated her like crap.
It was thin. It was a thin excuse. I feel like it might have a sliver of truth in it. Because if your best friend is coming on reality TV, you do have to support them. And like she said, like she was like supporting her with items like personal hygiene and stuff like that. So I feel like it's a sliver of truth in there, but I feel like it's a thin excuse.
Yeah. Here's the thing. You're like, okay, when your friend comes to reality TV, you got to support her. And then we get into personal care items that a grown woman should have on herself. That made me laugh. But I remember the episode thinking, oh my God, this grown woman.
Girl, take yourself to CVS and get yourself.
Okay.
Exactly. Stop it. One thing I wanted to mention before we leave here is that when Mia accused Wendy of sleeping with Peter, Wendy accused her back and said that she was banging him for lobster, and Mia said she wasn't denying it. What did you guys think about that? What does that mean? Is it true?
You just never know with Mia. I'm sure she'll tell her own tale of what that means, and not the producers adding her eating lobster at the strip club.
I love that.
They were so on it with their inserts this episode. I was just like, you guys are a mess with this. The slow motion. I was like, I can't. I can't. don't know. I want to see Mia own what she did in Miami, because she owned it on social media, and now it seems during the reunion she's backtracking. And the fact that they didn't denounce it as a production company as the host, it's weird, because you've done it before for other people, and it's weird that you're not doing it here in Potomac.
I can agree. It makes you wonder what their motivations are for certain people versus other people and whatnot, right? Like, I don't know. There definitely is something that needs to be explored there. But listen, part 3 is coming up next week. We're going to be on Lailah's channel for that. By the way, we're over 1,700 in here. Don't forget, this is a rotating panel. Next week, we're going to be on Lailah Lynn's channel, so please make sure you're subscribed to her. It's going to be the final episode, so we won't be back on Kempire's channel, but Kempire has daily and consistent pop culture news. So you do want to check out his channel anyway. He's also got a podcast, radio network. He is all about it. Okay, you guys. So do make sure that you subscribe to him as well. TV, thank you so much for the super chat. T says, there's a nasty, we went through this between Mia and Ashley. Listen, I'd be here for it. They're both, pretty saucy with it. So why not? Effie, thank you so much. Effie says they treated Wendy horribly this season. It's so sad. It's true. The isolation on top of everything was hard. Thank you so much for the super chat, Tony. Tony says, sometimes you just don't respond to ignorance. Wendy was right to not defend that stupid ISH. I can see it. And I think you do have a point. Putting on a face. Thank you for the super chat. There is something wrong with Giselle. She seriously cannot empathize with people she doesn't love, and that's a problem. It's cold. It really is. It's sad. Our house, thank you so much for the super chat. Mo should have never put her hands on anyone, but these women have been coming for Mo. She felt betrayed by Candy for having Cha-Cha around, knowing she's spreading the baby Chris rumors. It's Wendy and Candace's turn now. Yeah, it's like the hazing. They're going around the circle in the hazing, right? Omar, thank you for the super chat. Omar says, I still think Mia was the other woman when Cynthia found out Peter was cheating at Bar 1 in North Carolina. What y'all think? Well, what do y'all think? I wouldn't put anything behind Mia.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I wouldn't be surprised, like, if Mia has been intimate with Peter. I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
The least shocking thing from the show.
Exactly. I would see it. Ms. Esquire, thank you for the super chat. So disappointing to see Candace and Wendy do the intellectual and emotional labor of the colorism conversation. If not for Karen, no one else had wrestled with the topic. Great point.
Yeah, and I do want a moderator so that they didn't have to take on the weight of that conversation.
Well, let me ask you guys this, okay? The moderator thing. Apparently, they asked the girls. Some said yes, some said no. So if I ask you guys, Kempire and Lailah, and then you guys in the chat, whose opinion on that should have held more weight? There are more light-skinned girls and dark-skinned girls on this cast, okay? So, and colorism mainly affects dark skin or brown skin people. So should it not have been the thing with, you know what I mean? Like, should it have given a different consideration?
Well, when you put it that way, yeah. But I also feel as an HR department, they should have been like, you know what? We're not going to leave it up to the cast. This is our responsibility as a company and business and to our audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't get a vote.
Great point. It's just so disappointing to have seen the way they dropped that ball. Shasha, thank you for the super chat. Shasha says, Giselle being a first lady makes no sense. Women like her are the reason I left the church. Oh, Lord. The stories we can tell, people who've left the church. Potato Head, thank you for the super chat. If her tea in her wide Pandora's box is that Jacqueline is a side chick, Mia can go. We want tea, not this kitchen sink water. I'm with it. She said it already.
Fire today.
Right? They are spicy. J.I., thank you for the super chat. Jacqueline comes off very low budget and needy. I feel like Jacqueline is at fault for the demise of the relationship with tantrums each time on camera. What do you guys think?
I can see that, though. That's the thing. I think why we probably all have a difficult time even choosing a side, if we had to choose a side between these two, because we can see how they both played into this toxic relationship.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Especially with her keeping her continuously bringing up the fact that her mother helped raise Mia.
Mhm.
I feel like that, you know, it has no place in the conversation, but she keeps bringing it up.
Emotional blackmail.
Ooh. I agree. Yeah, there's definitely something there, more to it than meets the eye. She be amused. Thank you for the super chat. I watch because you guys review. Oh, that's like one of the best compliments ever. Thank you.
You hear that, Bravo?
Run us our check.
Okay.
Angie, thank you for this super chat. Angie says, Mia never had access to those business accounts. Remember, she had to get G to get her tickets after the altercation. That's not CEO behavior. Look at the CEO. Well, what if it's because he was like by a computer and she's all frazzled and whatnot in the middle of the night at the villa? If I could play devil's advocate on that.
You can book a flight from your phone. We got apps.
She was shaking. You can't book flight while you're shaking.
I forgot she broke her nails. I forgot. After she, you know, hit Dr. Wendy Osefo with her bag.
Right.
You know, they really downplayed that bag, by the way. Like, all we kept talking about was the drink. I'm like, but she was beating her with a bag, y'all.
Yeah.
Jeez. And we've got our final super chat here. Shasha. I'm sorry, I'm so bad. Thank you for this super chat. Them asking a group of majority light-skinned women about their opinions on a convo on colorism shows they don't care to have the convo at all. That's really tough. It's really, really, yeah. It's a tough position to be in. But listen, I do hope that they're taking account of the feedback and they're willing to kind of adjust it moving forward. Maybe this is going to be something that they kind of like grapple with later on, because it's not going to go away. I think that the issues are only going to grow and grow until they give it like a proper kind of look. You know what I mean? But yeah. I digress. Listen, you guys, this is the last time that you guys are on my channel this season. It has been so amazing hosting you guys throughout the season. Thank you so much for tuning in every week. We really appreciated your support. Once again, next week, we're going to be on Lailah's channel to close out the season. So make sure you subscribe to her. It's next Monday at 1 p.m. like always. And Kempire, like I said, he's got daily and consistent pop culture news. He's got a podcast, radio network. He's got it all. So make sure to subscribe to him as well. Take good care of yourselves, you guys, and have a great week. Bye.
Bye.